The dream that never ended. Matt dreamed of a perfect beach. The waves were warm, the sky vivid, and a woman in white smiled as she approached him. "You've made it, Matt," she said softly. He smiled back, but something shifted. The waves turned black, the sky twisted into green, and her face melted into a featureless void. "Wake up before it's too late," her voice distorted, echoing in his mind. Matt jolted awake, or so he thought. He wasn't in his bed, but in a massive room with sickly yellow walls. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, their hum loud and relentless. The damp carpet squelched underfoot as he walked, endless hallways stretching around him. "Hello," he called, his voice trembling. Only his echo replied until he heard it. A faint clicking sound echoed in the distance. Turning a corner, Matt froze. A figure stood at the end of the hallway. Its shape was humanoid, but its proportions were disturbingly wrong. Its arms hung too long, its head tilted unnaturally, and its glowing white eyes pierced through him. Who are you?" Matt stammered. The figure didn't reply. It stepped forward, moving soundlessly. Matt turned and ran. The clicking grew louder, echoing from every direction as the walls around him seemed to shift and twist, forming a maze. The buzzing lights grew harsher, drilling into his skull. He stumbled into a larger room and stopped cold. The walls were smeared with dark, wet stains, and in one corner lay a pile of what looked like discarded clothing. But as Matt stepped closer, his stomach turned. It wasn't clothing. It was human skin, torn and tossed aside like trash. The clicking returned, louder and closer. A guttural growl echoed from behind him. Matt spun around to see a creature crawling toward him, its limbs bent at impossible angles, its grin jagged and dripping black ooze. "Matt," it hissed, its voice low and mocking. He bolted, his breath ragged as he sprinted through the shifting maze. The hallways warped around him, dead-ending where they hadn't before. The lights flickered, casting grotesque shadows that danced and followed him. He reached another room, only to find himself trapped. The walls began to close in, forcing him to crouch. The air grew thick and suffocating as the clicking turned into a deafening chorus. Figures emerged from the shadows, twisted, glowing-eyed creatures with grotesque, bending limbs. They surrounded him, their mouths stretching into unnatural, jagged grins. "No, stay back," Matt screamed, but his voice was drowned by the buzzing and their guttural growls. One reached out, its clawed hand inches from his face. Matt jolted awake, gasping for air. Relief flooded him as